now that I'm in my 50s and have a family and have to, help manage a household with my wife, I realized recently that I've become my father. And that's not a bad thing. But I remember growing up, okay, and one of the key things I'm going to talk about, one of the points, was, growing up in our house, it was the thermostat. My dad was a fanatic about the thermostat, okay? And I used to make fun of him when I got older. Like, hey, Dad, why'd you take the thermostat off the wall when we were kids? How come we couldn't never get past 68 degrees, And he said, you'll see, right? And he was right, because guess what? I'm fighting that battle right now. I feel like the thermostat police. My wife and kids, they want, in the summertime, they want the air conditioning down, super low. And when it's wintertime, they want it the heat up high. And guess what? That doesn't help your bill. Okay? And I totally see where my dad was coming from now, And I wish I could have the conversation with him and say, hey, you were right, big guy. Number two, keeping the lights off in rooms that no one's in. Growing up, I'd leave the radio on, the TV on, flip the lights on, and my dad would go around and shut lights off and tell us, if you're not in the room, shut it off. And I used to make fun of him, And when I was a young adult, I'm like, hey, why are you so fanatic about the lights? Once again, he said, you'll see. Well, guess what? I'm going through this every day, and I'm like the light police. I'm going around. I'm shutting the fans off. I'm shutting the lights off. I'm shutting the TV off if no one's using it. Because why? Because guess what? There's a utility bill that comes due every month. And, hey, trying to save a little money, right? And the third thing, which, my wife pointed out to me, right, was, we have dogs, right? And, we curb our dogs. We have poop bags and, we respect our neighbors, right? But past year or two, got some neighbors that, feel like they could walk their dog and come crap on my lawn and piss on my lawn like it's nothing. And I'm like, and I, over time, obviously it gets upsetting, right? But I remember 20 years ago visiting my parents, and my dad jumped out of the kitchen and ran to the door and yelled at a guy for a dog crapping on the lawn. And I thought it was hysterical. But guess what? Once again, my dad was right. Right? What I'm finding is that, I'm at that age now, right? And I've become my dad. I guess we all become our fathers or, mothers if if you're a daughter, I guess. But, what it made me realize is that, my parents, my dad instilled things in me, like life lessons that, you're going to have to deal with at some point. And I got to say, I'm thankful for it, right? And do I feel bad about, when I was a young adult, giving my dad a hard time, making jokes about the thermostat or the dog crapping on his lawn or, going around shutting the lights off, And not really, we had a great relationship. But, he had the foresight to, clue me in on these things. I just never thought I'd get to that point. And it's not a bad thing. But, holy cow. Right? Time goes by, and now that I'm in my mid-50s, family man and, kids in college, and I'm realizing that I'm doing things that my dad used to do. And they're not bad. They're not bad things. And what I would say to you is this. When you're in that reflective mode, if you're someone like my age or older and you're reflecting on, time as time went by, kind of so to speak, and how your growing up was. I want to change it for the world. And I'm going to try to instill in my sons the things that my dad instilled in me to help me, survive in the world, get on in the world, right? And some of them are funny. I mean, come on, the things I just spouted out, right? I think as dad, or husband or spouse, you know what I'm talking about, right? Have you gone through this? Have you been reflecting like this? I'd like to know. Don't forget to like and subscribe. Thanks for watching.